Frank, did you get the A1? Did I send you the one you were looking for? I did email it.
To
Frank at something.
Frank. No, I didn't get it yet.
Okay, I'll re-email it. I don't know what happened. I did send it after you left my office the other day.
Okay.
So I'll try sending it again. Where do you want me to send it? Just so I don't goof up.
I like that account. It's I like that all my town stuff in one thing. It's Shutesbury.frank.mcginn, McGinn, no U. And
Okay, yeah, so it's Shutesbury Frank.
Frank McGinn, McGinn, no U.
Okay. Okay, so I did send it to the wrong one.
Yeah.
And
Everyone gets it.
Yeah, that's at
And
shutesbury.org.
no, that's at Gmail.
Gmail, thank you. Okay, I'll resend it
Okay.
later. And
Hey, Anna.
hi.
Hi, Anna.
Stephen, you want to be host?
Right, can can Frank be made co-host?
I don't know. I don't know if I can have three people. Let's see. If I make you host, then you can make Frank co-host. Do you know how to do that?
We have muddled through it in the past.
So why don't I make you co-host and make Frank host?
That sounds good. Yeah, make Frank host.
I'm the one who shares the spreadsheet. So
Sure.
yeah.
Once I make you host, Frank, I'm out of it.
Okay. Thank you, Gabe.
Yep. So you guys should be all set. Frank, make sure you work before I leave.
Yeah.
You should be able to hit the share. Yep.
Okay, good.
There you go. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Have a good
Bye-bye.
meeting, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so I call this meeting to order at 5:32.
Mm-hmm.
And Frank, I figured based on what I just heard that
Yeah.
Gabe did not send the AI minutes to the right address.
Correct. So I didn't get them. And
okay. So Jeff, update on the Spear Library roof repair.
So the contractor arrived let's see, 1 or 2 Fridays ago, whichever one was even friggin' colder than usual. And it was extremely windy, but by the time I left, they had replaced 5 shingles on the north side of the building, 5 shingles that had holes in them. And they were going to check the rest of the shingles on that side of the building, and they had also put a new copper patch on the ridge, and also re-nailed any loose or missing nails along the ridge.
awesome.
So I think they're done, and I've given the bill to Gabe.
And was the area where they replaced the slates adjoining that other area that had been patched or repaired?
No, it was everywhere. It was spread out across many areas of the roof.
Was there
some of the holes in the shingles were an inch in diameter?
Were they from like rocks or something, or?
I don't know.
Well, you can get nails gradually driving up and popping through.
I don't know what caused the holes.
So did it look like anything was done in the area where the previous repair had been made?
Yeah, they replaced 1 or 2 shingles in that area.
Okay.
Yeah, they're going to write a report and give it to us with pictures.
Oh, good.
They haven't done that yet.
All right. Well, next time there's a good rain, can go up in the attic and see if there's any water in that container.
Good.
Okay. So Frank, did you get a chance to take a look at the exit signs?
No, not yet.
Well, I was actually at the fire department more recently because I was talking to Len about the Knox box or boxes, and I had made the mistake saying that the town hall had a combo lock. It's not town hall, it's the highway department. So they don't need one for the highway department. But
What do you
so
mean by combo lock?
um, if you look at, if you go to the fire department, the entry door, it's got a number of buttons. I can't tell you how many. I'll just say 7. And
Okay.
you set up a combination and you hit the right numbers and it opens the door.
Okay,
So that's what's also on the highway department. So the buildings that would need it are 4, and that's going to be the elementary school, town hall, the Spear Library, and Old Town Hall.
okay.
And since we're on that, with Russ's help, uh, we can probably install those ourselves. What are your thoughts?
I agree.
So, do we? You did the research on that, Frank, correct?
Yeah, there's like the generic and the non-generic, and it's going to cost, I forget what I said, $400 to $600 per piece. But a lot of times they don't sell them to. I have to ask and put an inquiry in. I'm going to ask for a quote now that we know that there's 4, and ask to quote the town of Shutesbury,
Yeah.
because they looks like they go through distributors who install. So if I'll do that legwork, and we'll go with that.
So back to the exit signs. While I was there, I looked above the exit door from the sort of entry area, the common area, the front door,
Mhm.
south facing door, and that does not have an illuminated sign. It just has a stuck up, printed, it says exit. So same kind of sign that's over the one back door from the back fire bays that you can see. So I don't know that that tells us much.
Yeah, that doesn't tell us much. That just tells us somebody put up a fake sign. Okay.
Yeah, because they have to be hooked up to a specific electrical and backup and all that. So when the power goes off, they automatically go on.
All right.
They're
Would
not
that
cheap.
be the requirement, Jeff?
Yeah, they need, they're supposed to be self-illuminating. And so if the power goes out, they stay lit.
And are those signs that say any licensed electrician can install?
Definitely.
Yeah,
So we
They-
could put that in with our electrical
Package.
yeah,
upgrades.
but I think the first thing we should do is try to get the building inspector to tell us where does he want them.
And to find out if that block door is required.
Yeah, we don't want to put we don't want to put the signs in the wrong spot.
So would that be the, I don't know I know somewhere there's a listing for the building inspector. So does the building inspector cover both residential and commercial?
Covers it all. I'll be meeting with Jim on the third Wednesday or Thursday, maybe next week. I have to look it up. I'm the town representative for the Franklin County quote, blah, 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 building something or other. And I could ask him at that point.
Okay,
We
about
meet
the exit door and where the signs go in the fire department.
exit door and fire department. Yep.
Blocked one in the rear engine bay.
And I can also ask if he wants to meet us if he's in that area, because I know he's, there's this, actually there's Jim, who's the head guy, and then get the other guy's name, who's now fully working as a building inspector. But Jim is the most knowledgeable individual, especially when it comes to the town of Shutesbury. He knows all our stupid zoning laws. He doesn't like them.
He'll probably want to, they'll meet you at the fire station to see
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
so he can figure it out.
right.
Because I would think we would probably need at least 3 illuminated exits lights. 2 from the apparatus bay and then 1 from the main office to the
Main
outside.
office.
So when
Sounds like-
when you walk out of the apparatus bay and you go into the offices, can you see the front main door from when you walk out of the apparatus room?
You're talking about where the 3 bay, the larger engine area?
Yeah,
Well, there's a door you have to open, at least one door, to get from that into, I don't know if it's a small room or kind of a hallway, to then get into the front room. So it sounds,
okay, so when you walk from the apparatus room into the offices, if you can't see that front entrance exit light,
you got to
you'll
have it.
need more, you'll need more lights directing you to that.
Okay.
That's
Well-
why you need the chief or the building inspector to probably walk the building.
Okay. Yeah, because then there's a single bay that has a door facing north, a garage door, vehicle door. And from that, there's another little hallway, and I didn't look to see if that has any light, but I'm guessing based on what you're saying, there probably need to be an exit light there too.
Yeah, I really didn't understand what you were saying in terms of another corridor, but basically you need to be able to, let's say that the place is full of smoke, you need to be able to see from exit sign to get you out
Got it.
along a path.
Okay.
This probably won't be what he requires, but nowadays, I think for commercial, they want an exit sign also near the floor. An exit light,
In case you're crawling,
in case you're crawling.
interesting.
But I don't think it's for every use group.
Okay. So Frank, you're gonna follow
Talk
up
to Jim at the meeting and all that, and I'll ask the right questions.
and see if he wants to meet us there. Were you able to pursue salt shed design and cost at all, Frank?
Just the ones I looked up online that between, they have to come up with a size. Because they're all over the place and there's all different designs. There's some block designs. You take those concrete blocks and then put a big hoop on top of it. A couple $100,000 for that one compared to foundation based ones that are between 400,000 and 600,000. I think we have to ask them how big it should be. And then having said that, I'm not an engineer, but couldn't they just take that truss roof and add another 5 feet so the truck can go in there and open up?
Well, the walls would have to be raised.
Yeah, that's I mean, yeah. I mean, they raise houses and everything else all the time. They did that across the street next to you or something. They lifted that whole greenhouse up on the lake and poured a foundation underneath it and put it back down.
Oh,
I
so
bet
you,
it-
but that doesn't, that's that building just has very large pressure treated posts that go directly into the ground.
right, but I'm saying there's maybe we'd hire an engineer to I'm assuming it's gonna be so much more cheaper to raise that roof structure, let's say 5 feet, with whatever we need to do engineering, and they lift it up, build something underneath it, plop it back down, and it's done, and that clears the way the truck goes. It's got to be cheaper than $200,000 to $400,000 for a new salt shed.
Well, there might be another possibility of a, a different truss.
And they, what do you call it?
A scissors truss.
They're just the regular trusses, right?
Yeah, possibly a scissors truss.
Yeah, the
You
ones
know,
that go.
you know what a scissors truss is? Yeah, the bottom cords are on the slope as well as the top cords.
I guess the one concern is, will scissors truss prevent the sidewalls from bowing out, pushing out?
Yes.
It'll
I
meet
mean,
the
they've got
same
some.
criteria as a regular truss, like if it doesn't meet the same criteria, it just won't pass. Like they won't sell it to you.
Mhm.
So what are the side walls of the building down to the, well, is there a slab in there or is it just dirt?
Slab.
Dirt.
Thought there was a slab in there.
I could be wrong, but I don't think so.
Okay.
Well, I'm just wondering if it's better just to raise the whole building and then put a
Right.
concrete, a block foundation around the bottom.
Or a
That-
poured foundation around the bottom. Exactly.
Yeah, as opposed
Cut.
to messing with the roof.
Yeah. Raise the whole building, pour a 5 foot by 2 foot thing, and let those timbers sit on top of that with blocking. Yeah.
Yeah.
And at that point, assuming there's no slab, put a slab. So the salt, that was one of the things I think Dave mentioned, is that, the salt can now permeate into the ground.
Hmm.
So what protects the slab from the corrosive action of the salt?
I used to sell Euclid products and Sonobond products, and there's a lot of sealers that reflect a lot of salts and a lot of other things. And when the things crack, you do have leakage there. But there's a lot of chemicals that they mix with the concrete or add
Okay.
after the fact to seal. And they're penetrating sealers, so they go in.
Okay. Well, like the real thing is we need more information from the highway people.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I guess how many feet more do we need also? In other words, when the trailer comes in and you see all the damage, how many more feet? Those 18-wheel trailers seem to be standard.
Right. Well, when I was there more recently, there was just a truck, might have been one of the Shutesbury trucks, one of the bigger ones.
Mhm.
And with that raised, it almost touched uh, the underside of the truss. So I would say it's got to go up a good bit for a tractor.
Mhm.
Okay, moving on. Unanticipated items. I had met with Stephen Smolsky, and he had some thoughts about how to deal with the signboard when we get it back. And one of the things that I thought was most useful was his idea is to have um, the perimeter of the slab be a little less than the perimeter of the signboard, so that water isn't hitting the slab and, when it's raining and splashing up, uh, And also that would reduce the amount of water that would actually get on the slab. Um,
Okay, interesting.
But he doesn't have any dimensions of the signboard. So if we wanted to find that out before we get it back, we'd have to, as you suggested, have a road trip.
And when are we getting it back?
Maybe in the spring, I'm not sure.
25?
Right. I think the Historic Commission would probably be the best ones to ask about that.
And how heavy is this thing?
No, no.
Well, I'm kind of wondering, do we just do the foundation after the thing gets back?
Well, unless we go and see it and get dimensions, I would say, and I think we're going to have to figure out, the interface, because one of the things that he suggests, which I think, we definitely want to do, is you don't want it sitting directly on the slab. You want it raised slightly above the concrete. His idea is, an inch. So we have to have an attachment, some component attached to the slab. And I was thinking of thick aluminum angle, because that won't, rust. I mean, if we put steel on there, it'll gradually rust and expand and eventually become a problem. And then have a way to work out the detail and how to attach some blocking to the channel, and then a method of letting the signboard come down and sit on that and make a couple simple connections just so it can't be knocked over or blown over.
Okay,
And does that slab have some type of pyramid slope on it? So water,
If you slope it, well, first off, that would be pretty difficult to do. If it's going to be a small slab, if you just give it a 1/4 inch to the foot pitch, the water's going to drain off of it.
mhm.
And given now that it's going to be slightly smaller, I don't think a whole lot of water is going to get on there. Anna, would you agree it'd be hard to slope a small slab in multiple directions?
well, small is small.
Yeah, harder than just doing one slope in one
Yeah.
direction. And as long as there's a side that's like a good side to dump it to, I would just pick one side and just do like a single pitch.
Well,
When you say a slab, I'm a little confused. So I thought it sounds more like what he's talking about is he wants a foundation that sticks up above the dirt a ways so that the the signboard then could sit down over that, right?
sit over what? The concrete?
Yeah.
No,
Is oh,
no. You're talking about Smolsky's idea is that the signboard is floating by an inch above the slab, but the slab dimensions are smaller than the outside dimensions of the signboard. So if you were looking straight down, you wouldn't see the concrete.
okay. We're saying the same thing. Okay. And then are you saying another slab around the outside so that a lawnmower doesn't hit it?
No,
Okay. Okay.
hope that
Okay. You're using the word slab, but I'm going to use the word foundation. Okay. Very good.
right.
And it's up just enough so that the weed whacker will go underneath it and never hit it.
That's the theory. Okay. Okay.
Maybe for a short distance around the perimeter, we put gravel,
Ooh, there he's back to the gravel thing again. Okay.
barrier under it.
He loves that gravel. Okay.
I forgot, where else do I want gravel? Everywhere, right?
Gravel the world.
Right. Gravel's a growth industry.
Is
I've
it?
been,
Oh, is it?
He must have investments in it.
Mhm.
Must have been around since the Romans. Okay.
all my money is. Okay, I sent an email to the CPA regarding that remaining $1,000 at the Hearst House project, and then
Mhm.
$1,000 that was gifted to us for Old Town Hall, asking, that those monies still be available to us. I haven't gotten any kind of reply, but I did send that off. So I guess unless somebody has anything else, we can get back to signing action levels.
So do we have a new member for our board?
He's been approved, and he's currently, I think, on a skiing trip. And he said after that, after he comes back, he's going to go and get sworn in. So
Okay.
hopefully next meeting.
Okay.
And just so what I found real quickly online is I think the long trucks are 29 feet high when they dump salt, sand, or whatever in that building.
Well, that's cool. So they go 23 feet, and maybe what the highway department has goes 19. So
Yeah. So it might be just like putting a foundation, and it might be, easy peasy. Not lots of money. Just have to hire an engineer
Oh,
and,
yeah. And a surveyor.
and a surveyor,
And we'll have to go to Concom,
because we're next to the wetlands.
probably,
Yeah.
like across the street.
Yep. Well, Pete's spending, $400,000 on one of those white hooped buildings that look like shit. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that out loud, but they just drive me nuts. The snow flies off of them, but I don't like them in people's driveways. I don't like them in town halls or town yards. But anyway, so we finished the fire department, except for what needed to be checked out. So this is highway department.
yep.
Low priority or anticipate, a future inspection.
What's the work that needs to be done based on what I read in the comments?
I
Like
think it's more of a
repaired adequately or repaired not adequately?
Yeah, good question. There's 3 repair trusses.
they looked when I see a lot of fasteners at all the connections, that gives me confidence that somebody was involved, engineer or architect, or truss engineer. So I would say, I didn't see any stress. Looks like they've been repaired for a while. I think the only thing is just to pay attention to the truss plates, because looked like more surface corrosion than anything else on a lot of the truss plates, I assume from the salt.
Mhm.
A monitor.
Yep. Monitor. Monitor.
Okay, so on the insulation, in the main building, the 3-bay building that also has the office, I think at some point they put up this reflective material. It's almost like very thin bubble wrap, which
Let's say Reflectix on it. It's like the old duct
Oh,
cover.
yeah.
You just like wrap duct work in that. Made a good insole for your shoes. If it was cold.
well, actually, that's what it looked like.
Yeah.
But I think, and it was very tight fitting, so I couldn't look up behind it. There might be some other insulation, but if anything, you need to do some, say, destructive, slightly destructive. I mean, maybe, cut some things and take a look to figure out if there's more. But I don't know that you'd put any more insulation in that building.
No.
I mean, they do have heat in there. Um,
So is
So
it further inspection needed?
that would be my suggestion.
Is that how you spell it? Oh, there's an L.
I think it's Flectix. I don't know. I'll consult the internet. Can't say I've seen it in a long time, but when you were describing it, it sounded exactly like that. Yeah, Reflectix.
REF. I'm sorry, L.
Yep. ECTIX.
ECT. Okay, good.
You need an I before the X. No E, correct, Anna?
Yep.
No, you don't need the question mark. Oh, question, I guess,
I don't know.
correctly.
Well, I mean, I don't know the brand name, but yeah. They used to sell it in like 4 foot by like 100 something foot rolls that weighed nothing. You could carry it yourself and
Yeah.
you staple it up and you're done. And it had a minimal R factor of 7 or 8 or something really thin and small. So
Mhm. And it was always a question of people putting it tightly on the ducts and whether it actually needed the airspace to meet
right.
that R value and blah, blah, blah.
Monitor. Okay.
Further
You said-
ins-
We were gonna say further
oh,
inspection.
Further, thank you. Moisture, no concerns, monitor.
And all these things you're talking about, where are we in this building? Are we talking just the heated part of the building?
Yeah, well, if you look at, say, under attic, see where it
Yeah.
says framing, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So
Yeah.
there's 4 different locations. And then, if you go to sheathing, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's all purlins. So there are four different areas.
Okay.
So and then, insulation, there are only 2 areas that had any insulation.
What do we do for infants, for mice? Monitor or
I don't think there's much you can do in the highway department.
we just keep on monitoring it and see how it
Cat.
goes?
Yeah.
Get a cat.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Functional doors, monitor. Monitor on the windows. Is this a non-applicable or?
Um,
Yeah,
Yeah.
if there isn't any.
Right,
oh, I'm not suspecting any. I mean,
right.
I don't think there's anything that's really painted unless it's got a factory paint.
You didn't go tasting?
Well, I licked it, but
Oh, good.
it tasted
You're
dust.
still, you're still here, so that tells us something.
Mhm.
Well, actually, on mold, I mean, there's mold there, so I don't. I mean, I describe how to clean it.
This is from an old, the further inspection was there before. Oh,
Got it. Maybe
okay, that. I think we leave that because it'll just always go in if the mold,
no, I wouldn't.
especially,
Well, why you want further inspection required?
is it all gone?
No,
So what would you want to do with it?
it's either priority high or priority low.
Okay, priority
No.
low?
No,
Okay,
That's what I think we put in other locations where there's been a little bit.
okay.
I think priority high for this one.
Definitely.
Yep.
Hang on, go to where the garage doors are.
Yep.
Okay, so where you have the further inspection required, now I have those filled in.
What's that mean? No, I haven't filled in.
Well, there was no comment before, and that's why
Okay.
previously further inspection.
Oh, okay,
So those three yellow further inspection required comments can be changed.
to monitor because they're functional.
I think so. Now on the garage doors, so the two of the doors have a safety reverse feature. The east door doesn't. And then all of the eyes are mounted between 14 and 24 inches above the slab. And I don't know if it's different in commercial, but in residential, it's not, they're not supposed to be mounted any higher than 6 inches. So that's either priority low or priority high, in my opinion.
I think I would go with high, since it's a safety issue.
Right.
So I think on 1.2, I think that can be changed to monitor.
Okay, because that was, yeah. And that's the highway department.
Oh, and what are go back. So those also I've now commented on. So I talked to Dave, and that sliding gate that I think you had asked about previously, Jeff.
Yeah, okay.
Well, he said, you know, that currently does not function, and he wants to actually move it further back so people can't go back behind the buildings. Um,
What's back mean?
Pardon? I'm
Take
sorry.
them from where,
back.
take them from where they are in the front of the property line on the street level. Take them apart and just put them between the two buildings so that no one can go after hours can drive behind the buildings.
Right.
Okay.
So we just put priority
that a-
low on, or
What,
anticipate.
did he seem to think we needed to do that soon or not?
We didn't have that discussion. He didn't voice any immediate concern.
Okay,
So it's
let's
all
go
priority
priority
low.
low.
Yep.
Yeah. But back to the berm, why is it, what's the issue that we need priority low? Under site grading,
Probably just needs monitor.
What's the problem?
what's the problem?
For me, I can't, I have to put my nose in the street all the time. But I use the one on the west side because it's easier to see. On the left side, it's built up too much. It's too close to the street.
Yeah, I think the berm's too close to the street.
Right.
You
Yeah,
can't
I
see
see.
cars coming.
But I think when they take out those gates, they can, use their equipment and move them. Unless it's,
Move what? The
the
berm?
berms. Yeah. Are there
Yeah,
trees in them?
no, they
Well,
covered them with plants.
Okay.
well, the berm, one area where the berm couldn't be moved is where they have their fuel storage tanks, which are right
Mhm.
on the berm with a chain link fence around them. It couldn't be moved away from the road there, but certainly other areas. But then I wonder, you know, when they bring trucks, their trucks in and move them into the vehicle bays there, how much room they need. I noticed since I was there last that at least two of the door frames have been damaged. And according to Dave, when you have the plow on there, there's very little clearance.
Mhm.
And I think it's something at some point, actually, probably if I probably need to make a change in the comment about the trim at some point adjacent those doors. But I was wondering if putting bollards up to prevent, you know, if bollards could be installed in such a way to prevent them from running into the door. Or somehow, not the operating door, but the door frame.
Hmm.
Yep.
Anything else on the highway department?
So go back, keep going. Thought I saw a space. Oh, okay. I don't think there's an issue with that. Can't evaluate it until the spring or summer.
Right. They're pretty good.
So are there any more buildings we haven't finished?
I still have to do a little bit at the elementary school.
Oh, okay.
Um,
So when do you think we're going to be ready to prioritize?
well, my thought is I don't think we're going to find, I don't think I'm going to find any big issues at the elementary school. And I think we've already discussed that electrical might be the most important uh, item to prioritize as top priority. And whether we should start putting together, say, a list, electrical list, and then get some contractors, electrical contractors to give us bids.
Sounds like a plan.
That makes sense?
Yep. One thing that was noted during COVID on your section 6.1 or whatever, the ventilation, the air exchange, and I don't remember the exact numbers. Jeff might. You're supposed to be able to exchange the air so many times a minute or an hour or whatever it is. And let's say the standard now is 10. The old system we have is only 3. And it was concerned in the beginning of COVID for that reason. So that the specs on that might have to be looked at, and that might be a big thing down the road. The air exchange units, whatever it is, making them up to standard. Because I think
But now
do you
with
have
the
that?
new energy, the new
What?
energy code may bring those back down.
Oh, really? Oh,
But maybe.
okay. Because I don't know what the standard was for the new library.
Yeah,
But
I can't.
when the old building committee looked at the boiler system in there, that's what the engineers came up with. You know, we had that whole boiler problem there. It turned out to be, you know, new computers, new valves compared to replacing the whole system. But that was one of the concerns for the future. And that should be somewhere in some file somewhere.
Anna, I have a question. Do you guys have a copy in your office of the building code
You have a digital copy.
of only the residential or the commercial and residential?
I don't know if we have the commercial. I can look. We don't do design build on like larger commercials, so usually that's coming down from an architect if we're in that code, but I can see.
Right.
In theory, I can check from home here, but I can get back to you on that.
Because I'm kind of wondering if we, as part of the committee, should get a subscription to the building code so that we can check out some of these things.
Do they do it for free?
Oh, nothing's free.
I can't ask the building inspector for a copy.
No, he won't even give you a copy. I mean, he can give you a copy of the Massachusetts amendments,
Yeah.
but without the national code, that's useless.
Mhm.
Okay.
Do you know how much it costs a year?
No, I would think it'd probably be a few $100s.
Would some of the, say, larger libraries have that accessible?
That I don't know. Again, I'm sure they would have the Massachusetts amendments, but I'm not sure they'd have the national code. So I don't know.
So what's the requirement? I know, at least in residential, everything's quote grandfathered. So in the case of the ventilation system for the school, as requirements changed, are you required to bring, the building, in this case, the ventilation system, up to meet the code, the new code?
Well, I can tell you what it was back before I retired, and the answer would be no.
You would,
However, I know since then, is because we had this discussion on the new library meeting a couple days ago where there have been 2 revisions to the Massachusetts Energy Code, the last 2 revisions. So I don't guarantee what I'm saying is necessarily correct, but in the past, if you were to do some major improvements or modifications, then you would have to bring it up to the new code, but we're not talking about that.
yeah. So it may not be required that the ventilation system be improved.
Unless
But it
there's
also
some,
went back to health things. That was the other side,
yeah, unless there's some kind of health requirement that now changes that.
Is the number of air changes based on the population of the school?
Usually it's based on square footage.
Okay.
We were talking about something similar at when I went to the select board meeting the other night for the Shutesbury Athletic Club. Ever since that major fire in Rhode Island, nothing was grandfathered in and all for fire restrictions and egresses and all that. They changed it all. Massachusetts followed Rhode Island's suit and said, yeah, all those things were out the door, that you have space, 100 people, you have to have this, this, and this. And I sent Rita the select board the code. Is like even fire systems. If you have X amount of people, the state of Massachusetts requires now sprinklers.
Yeah.
And they
right.
don't care how old the building is or how long you've been involved, because
Yep,
it would
you're
have
right.
saved.
Yeah, we got hit by that big time at UMass.
Mhm.
I
Okay,
don't have a copy of the code. Sorry.
go ahead.
Oh, I don't have a copy of the commercial code.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a little bit more to do at the elementary school.
Mhm.
One thought I had was we each have access to the spreadsheet.
Yep.
So I'm wondering if it would make sense for each of us to go through that and start to get a sense of what you might see as priority items.
Mhm.
And then, at our next meeting, we could talk about some of those. But I think, does everybody agree that starting with electrical issues makes sense?
Oh. Oh yeah. Sorry, I'm having trouble with electrical issues here. The dog had to come up and visit me, so I had to move everything around.
Unblur your background so we can see the dog.
Oh.
Yeah, I agree. The electrical to me is a good starting point.
Yeah.
Okay.
So so Frank, how do we access this thing, say tomorrow or whenever?
Whenever you have it, if I sent you a copy in the past, you have access to it. So we have to, I've learned something new, and I wanted a new business to talk about. Sharing documents, specifically meeting minutes. And I have to figure out how this comes into effect with what we were just talking about. But when I share you all the meeting minutes,
Mhm.
And you all work on them, that's an open meeting law violation, because it's considered a quorum, even though each individual is doing it at their own time. So you're not doing that in the public. That's why a lot of committees recently, and I found a list, I can send you something about email and all the ugliness of open meeting laws. Not that people are going to complain about our little buildings committee, but when we do that, we can't edit it. You can look at it, write your edits on on your own, and they have to be done in public. They can't be
So-
done off-site anymore.
So tell me if this is also, would be also a violation. So if the library building committee, um, um, drawing a blank on our secretary. Jeff, who's our secretary, library building committee?
Penny,
Penny.
Penny.
Penny sends us the minutes that she's taken. And then we individually go through them. And if we have any comments, we can email them to her. And then she modifies the minutes. Is that also a violation?
It sounds to me it's a violation because you're not doing it in the public realm.
That's what it sounded like from what Frank was saying. Yeah.
So then
Uh,
the other side is I was thinking about the spreadsheet and going back to and what Jeff just said was this is a document we share, and then we're going to share with this came up when I talked to Gabe yesterday, that we share. One of the things is that we constantly say site visits are not a scheduled open meeting. They're site visits. So I asked, and we have to get an answer, is if Stephen Dalmas goes to the elementary school and uses the spreadsheet as a site visit, is that a site visit? And makes edits. And that's how I'd like to look at it, and I can get more clarity. So Jeff, and what Stephen's asking us to do is come up with our own priorities. So in our mind, we're all doing site visits at the elementary school or whatever building we're working on. And that's how we'll look at it, and that's how we'll publicize it if that gets the blessing from whoever. But I'll find the thing online. I closed too many tabs today, and I'll send you all a list. And I still want to get together with Stephen because when Stephen has the master account, Shutesbury building something.org. If I send it to there, it should automatically forward to all its members. And I was waiting to do that to add Phil when he was in the loop. So as soon as Phil comes on board, I want to do that so that whenever we or anyone has questions, all we do is send it to the main account, and then all the members get it. And if someone from outside the system does the same thing, a bid, a question, an engineer, it goes to all of us in general, and that makes it more. I'll find that it's one of those .orgs that came up with this whole list, and it said "Beware of emails" was the title. The new thing. So I think we can say the spreadsheet is site visits because we're doing a site visit and then we're writing our notes down. Where meeting minutes are different because we're sitting here talking. I also learned something new at one of the smaller committees that Tom was on this morning, is that you can do minutes at the end of a meeting.
You mean
As opposed to what?
You can record, you can accept and record and accept the minutes. In other words, if you knew you were going to just talk about one thing, like the time we all got together to approve the contract for the elementary school, we got together one day and just approved the contract, and that was all we did. I could write the minutes up, what time it started, what time we ended, and who said everything, and we were all in agreement, and we can also vote on those minutes at the end of the meeting. So that was something interesting.
So hearing all this, so in the future, I should not make any changes to the document that you send us in terms of minutes.
Correct.
I could print it out, make all my changes, and then at the meeting, present them all.
Correct. That's why it was a bunch of, I know that a bunch of committees are now doing this. And who knows, maybe someone complained, but those stupid little laws. And we're all learning because now we're remote. So it used to be, when I started on this committee, we met in that little room in town hall and we talked for an hour and then we left. And everything was handwritten and nothing was recorded. So interesting. So I'll go over some priorities on the buildings and come up with a list.
So I could, sometimes I will add a fair amount, Frank, to
Yeah,
some started. So I could copy what you've sent, make all my changes, but not present them until the meeting.
exactly.
Could I at the meeting email them to you?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I might save your copy and that becomes the permanent record.
All right, we'll try that.
Okay.
All right, so people will spend some time looking at the spreadsheet. Frank, I don't know if you want to just resend it so that,
Yeah.
I mean, I have my copy,
Anna.
so I
Cute, I love it.
know where it is, but if
Yeah. I'll send it to Anna and Jeff and
Okay.
as soon as I hang up the meeting.
okay,
I'll just,
and we will talk about priorities next time, including electrical.
okay.
And next
Sounds like a
time is 2 weeks.
Yes, does that work for everybody?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
I'll be away all next week, but I should be back for the next one.
Okay.
But then I'm warning you, I'm leaving February 10th for New Zealand.
Uh-huh.
Cool.
And I'll be gone almost a month.
They have
Fun.
they have internet down there.
Yeah, so what's your point?
Do you
Yeah,
have your real ID?
they're also like a day ahead of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what a long flight.
Yeah, don't tell me. Yeah, I know. 14 hours from Texas.
Mm.
Wow.
I got to get to
Why
Texas first.
why are you going to Texas?
My daughter, the flight from Boston, the best flight to New Zealand on American Airlines goes from Boston to Dallas and then Dallas to New Zealand.
Mhm. Someone works at American Airlines?
Well, we have points on American
Oh,
Airlines.
okay.
Okay, so
So we're going to visit my daughter
Oh, fun.
and her boyfriend.
the next meeting will be the 22nd, and then after that, the 5th of February. So we should have you here then, right? And then you'll be gone for a month.
Okay.
Cool. Have a great time. Sounds
Yeah.
awesome.
Thank you. And Mr. Delmuth, you're going to be approached
Fill in?
to attend the construction meetings at the library while I'm away.
Okay.
So
Just curious. I appreciate all the pictures you're posting. I'm on the town's whatever and all that. And being in building materials my whole life, why wasn't a steel stud building not applicable? I always wanted to ask the architect why he doesn't use steel studs.
the theory was that being in wood, um, more contractors could bid.
Okay.
We could get like almost like custom residential contractors to build it out of wood as opposed to building it out of steel studs. And the code, it's not that big of a building. The code
Mhm.
allowed it to be out of wood. There are a few steel members in there, but not that many.
Now, the light steel framing, I remember I didn't do the configuration, but Dietrich Steel or Unimass, one of the companies, bidded out a house, and I remember doing the completation, the difference between the two, and the steel studs was cheaper at
Hmm.
the time. So that, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah,
Well, another
sh-
issue is a lot of the structure in that library is going to be exposed glulam beams.
Hmm.
So combining the steel and the wood would be
Yep.
maybe not cost effective.
Have you ever built a steel studded house, Anna?
house, no, but definitely in commercial. And
Yeah.
we did a project a couple years ago that, like in the kind of mid-COVID days, the steel stud price was all over the map. So originally the architect had steel studs, and we went to wood because it was cheaper, and then steel was cheaper, and then it went back again. It was just like a ping pong. I'm trying to
Hmm.
remember if that was 2022 or 21, but it was an interesting time.
It was probably 21 when the shortages hit, and they went
Yeah.
through the roof that way because everything was like that. So yeah,
Oh
I
my God,
remember those.
it was a blur.
Yeah, I remember those roller coaster rides.
Oh,
You know,
yeah. Yeah,
you
price.
bid a job, and 9 months later you're starting the job, and it's just like you're not making any money on the steel, and just
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Our joke was like, the price is good until you're done reading the sentence.
all forbidding.
So, Frank, getting back to the open meeting law.
Yeah.
So when you send the minutes, you should not send it as a shared document, right?
No, I'm gonna send it as a shared document, but you won't be able to edit it.
Oh, okay. Oh, I won't be able.
You'll get a copy of it, and you can save it and work on it, and you know, maybe add notes. Maybe I'll figure it out, Stephen. We'll play.
Okay. All right. Okay. Do I hear a motion to end the meeting?
I'd like to end the meeting. Yeah, I have a motion.
Second?
Second it.
Yeah.
All in favor, Cook,
I
Yin,
Aye.
Quackenbush,
Aye.
Almus, aye. Thank you, everyone. See you in 2
Thank
weeks.
you all.
Bye.
Yep.
Night.
Bye-bye.